The air grows cool and damp as your torch flickers against the jagged stone walls of the cave system. Shadows dancing like restless spirits in the periphery of your vision. You've stumbled upon something ancient, something waiting. And the faint scent of old wood and rusted metal tickles your nostrils as you press deeper into the earth. This is no ordinary cavern. This is a gateway into the engineering marvels and hidden dangers of a Mineshaft mineshaft. A labyrinthine relic of ages past where fortune and peril cling to every crumbling support beam and cracked rail. Hear that distant skittering echoing through the tunnels. That's the sound of cave spiders stirring in their silken lairs, guardians of forgotten treasures. Watch your step as the floor falls away into a sudden ravine. Some chefs lurk beneath deceptively flat terrain, masked by thin layers of gravel that crumble like sugar beneath your boots. But then you see it, the first weathered oak plank protruding from the stone like a skeletal finger, followed by the glint of iron tracks vanishing into darkness, a promise of structure amidst the chaos. This moment, this threshold between wild caves and meticulous architecture, is where your real adventure begins. The mineshaft entrance rarely greets you with open arms. More often, it whispers its presence through scattered clues. You might descend into the bowels of a ravine, its sheer walls striped with mineral veins, only to notice unnatural right angles in the shadow support beams crisscrossing chasms. Rail bridges arched over molten lava lakes glowing hellish orange far below. Or perhaps you're spelunking through a sprawling cave when the chaos of stalactites gives way to orderly corridors, their ceilings shored up by cracked oak and mossy fence posts. Beware the initial plunge. Many a hasty explorer has met their end in these entryways, stepping onto gravel disguised as solid ground only to plummet into a nest of spiders or worse, a pit of jagged stone where their items scatter like confetti amid hostile groans. But fortune favors the observant. Listen for the telltale dripping of water or the hollow plank of a loose rail underfoot, their breadcrumbs left by the miners of old, leading you toward the heart of the network. And what a network it is once inside. The mineshaft unfurls like a monstrous spiderweb, tunnels branching in every direction. Some wide and inviting, others narrow and claustrophobic, choked with cobwebs that cling to your face like ghostly fingers. You'll encounter corridors that stretch into infinite blackness, rails arrow straight, until swallowed by shadow, intersections where 3 or 4 paths converge beneath flickering torch sconces long since extinguished, their charcoal hearts cold. Dead ends taunt you, promising hidden chambers behind thin walls of stone. But save your pickaxe, there are better ways to uncover secrets than brute force. Follow the rails, but not blindly. They curve unexpectedly, leading to sudden drops or looping back in dizzying circles. The wood groans around you. Timber creaks echoing like footsteps behind. Is it your imagination? Or did that support beam just crack? Keep your ears tuned for the skittering crescendo that signals a cave spider spawner nearby, a sound that chills the blood. These bluish monstrosities pour from their nests ensnared in sticky silk, waiting to ambush the unwary with venomous bites, but conquer their lair. And you gain more than XP. You claim a strategic foothold in a hostile realm. Now your eyes scan the ground. Sifting through debris, gravel patches bulge upward slightly, whispering of buried prizes. Strike the edges carefully with a shovel, letting the worthless pebbles cascade away to reveal chests half rotted by time. Pry them open. Heart pounding as the rusted hinges protest, golden apples gleaming with enchanted promise. Diamonds nestled beside rail ties like stars hidden in coal dust. Saddles whispering of unexplored biomes above. But the mineshaft guards its wealth jealously. In mesa variants rare as desert rain, the wood turns deep crimson, warped by the baked clay around it, and the mineshafts twist upward, defying gravity with bridges that span scarlet canyons. Here, even the air tastes different, dry and spiced with terracotta dust. Secret rooms lurk behind false walls where pistons once hissed. Dig around suspicious dirt patches and you may breach a chamber crammed with chests guarded only by silence. Don't forget the abandoned station's ghostly platforms adorned with minecart husks frozen on their tracks, suggesting a sudden exodus or massacre. These hubs often house the richest loot, but linger too long, and you'll hear the moans of long-dead miners echoing, phantom pickaxes ringing against phantom stone, cave systems intertwined with these May tunnels like serpents coiled around a staff veer left at a collapsed tunnel, and you might breach a cavern glittering with iron veins, or a dripstone forest where pointed spears threaten impalement from above. Flooded passages birth drowned horrors, but also conceal magma chambers where obsidian glistens bring a water bucket. Turn lava flows to stepping stones and carve safe paths through the inferno. Your torch flares in sudden drafts, their currents betray vast open spaces beyond. Thin cave walls, mine strategically, and you'll break through to cathedral-like caverns dripping with glow berries, their luminous fruit painting everything in ethereal teal, a haunting counterpoint to the mineshaft's grim ambience. But your true mastery lies not merely in survival, it's in domination. Strip these tunnels bare, repurpose their bones. Those wooden beams aren't just decoration, they're fuel for furnaces, planks for builds above. Every rail is a treasure. Collect stacks of them. Dismantle the tracks with practiced speed. Not all supports are structural, some are cosmetic, placed generations ago by miners long gone. Let your pickaxe feast. Watch for unstable ceilings, crumbling gravel, overhead signals danger. Place torches as you advance to mark safe routes back. Carry shears to clear cobwebs silently, preserving precious sword durability. A lava pool beckons with cruel beauty, spill water along its edge to create obsidian pathways, or cool menacing flows into harmless rock. Your sword arm grows weary from spider battles, drop torches on spawners to silence them forever, turning enemy dens into loot-filled trophy rooms. And all the while, the mineshaft breathes around you a living entity. It's in the distant rumble of a cave-in you narrowly avoided, in the phantom flicker of lantern light glimpsed in peripheral vision, in the way the wooden skeletons seem to shift when not directly observed. Legends whisper of ancient builders driven mad by what they unearthed here, vanishing into the depths. Some say the mineshafts burrow deeper than strongholds, scratching at the void itself. But you are their inheritor, armed with knowledge and iron will. So venture deeper, torch held high, for the next turn may reveal glittering diamonds or hellish mob spawners, riches or ruin. And that razor's edge thrill is the mineshaft's true gift. Just remember, every shadow hides a story, every creak a warning. Listen closely, and the mineshaft will speak to you, guiding your pickaxe toward glory or tragedy. The choice is yours. Adventure awaits beneath your feet. The air grows thick and still as your torch flickers against the damp wooden beams of the entrance. The groaning echoes of ancient minecarts whispering through the shadowed tunnels like ghosts of miners long gone. Welcome, my friend, to the realm of forgotten depths, where fortunes glitter in darkness and death skitters unseen across crumbling cobwebs. You grip your iron sword tighter. Its cool weight a silent promise against the rustle of something many-legged in the blackness ahead. Because descending into an abandoned mineshaft isn't just exploration, it's a dance with chaos. A calculated gamble where every creaking step could unveil golden treasure or summon waves of venomous fangs. Let me pull you deeper into this labyrinth, not as a guide, but as a survivor who's felt cave spider poison burning through their veins and gasped in odd enchanted books glowing in cobweb chests. Imagine the torchlight casting jagged shadows on your face as we discuss the iron clinging to your limbs like a second skin. The shield strapped to your arm, not just wood and metal, but hope itself when a swarm erupts from the walls. Picture your inventory meticulously curated. One row for golden apples that gleam like captured sunlight. Another for bundled torches ready to push back the hungry void. A shovel poised to dig through false floors, hiding name tags that could christen a loyal Volf companion or mark a prisoner's cell. There are rules whispered among seasoned miners, rules written in blood and lost loot. Never chase the distant clink of minecart metal on tracks without planting a torch every 3 paces, creating breadcrumbs Hansel and Gretel would envy. Never underestimate the deceptive wideness of a mineshaft corridor when a cave spider, no larger than your fist, can arc through the air like a dagger thrown by the darkness itself. Feel the heat before you see it, a flickering orange glow painting the walls ahead, the sizzle of lava dripping like molten death from ceiling seams, and your boots skid on gravel as you freeze, realizing this isn't just a pit, But a trap nature designed, a single misstep could melt iron armor into slag. So you crouch, eyes sharp, spotting the telltale sag of suspicious gravel. And instead of stepping forward, you dig down at an angle, revealing a hidden chasm, and there, nestled in its ribs like a secret, sits a chest glimmering with saddle leather and whispering promises of horse riding through sunflower valleys. Speaking of chests, the art of looting is a symphony, not a scavenger hunt. Ignore the coal like a miser clutching copper. You must be ruthless. Ears straining for the groan of wood opening, fingers rifling past common seats to seize the manuscript shimmering with ancient power sharpness to book that'll transform your blade into a lightning strike. Remember the golden rule of subterranean physics. Every abandoned mineshaft curls in on itself like a sleeping dragon, twisting back to swallow the unwary. So when you find the spawner, its iron bars stained with phantom cobwebs, the eerie blue pulse within humming with cursed energy Euphasa. Choice, slamming torches onto its sides feels like laying flowers on a grave, silencing the spawner's heartbeat and bathing the chamber in safety. But oh, the siren sound of experience orbs, the adrenaline of smashing it with trembling pickaxe swings as spiders pour forth, begging you to test if your strategy of bottlenecking them in a 3-block tunnel really holds under 8 skittering limbs. And when your pack strains with rails and golden apples, when you've triple-checked every minicart carcass for buried chests, look up, see those dusty support beams. 3 blocks high, scarcely noticed in your treasure fever, but behind them, a hollow cough echoes when you tap the walls. Dig and discover the mineshaft architects love their secrets, a compartment barely large enough to crouch in, home to a lone chest cradling a music disc. Its melancholic tune waiting to spin beneath a jukebox under open stars. But triumph breeds complacency, and here's where the mind kills when victory loosens your vigilance. Maybe you've forgotten the loaf of bread deep in your inventory, your hunger bar trembling. Or perhaps you think swimming across what seems a narrow lava channel won't sear your health into nothing. Believe me, no amount of diamonds in your pocket will buy back the armor dissolving in molten rock as you flail. Plan your escape as meticulously as your assault. A temporary base carved into solid stone, furnace coughing smoke as you smelt iron ingots looted earlier, crafting minicart after minicart because carrying them back would snap your spine, but linking them into a caravan on existing rails. That's a train snaking its way toward daylight, wealth clattering homeward. Drop torches obsessively on the right wall, only a one-sided star map guiding you out even when panic blurs your mind, and stash surplus loot inside a hollowed-out chamber marked with 3 cobblestone blocks piled like emergency beacons. After all, survival isn't about escaping the darkness once it's knowing the mind's cold embrace will call you back. It's uncharted tunnels still holding archaic whispers, and next time, that name tag you buried in gravel will christen a ravager you ride straight into the heart of a woodland mansion, your tail etching itself into the granite bones of Minecraft's eternal world. Imagine descending into the shadows of a cave, your torch casting flickering light on damp stone walls, the air thick with the scent of earth and the distant drip of groundwater. Suddenly, your pickaxe breaks through into emptiness, and before you sprawls a labyrinth of wooden beams. Stretching into darkness, the creaking skeleton of an abandoned mineshaft, its tunnels whispering secrets of a bygone era. This moment of discovery, once shocking and wondrous to players, marked the beginning of a legacy when mineshafts first clawed their way into Minecraft's subterranean world in Beta 1.8, dubbed the Adventure Update, a title that proved prophetic. There was no grand announcement, no flashing signposts pointing players downward. Instead, these sprawling structures lurked silently underground, waiting to be found by unsuspecting miners. Those first explorers stumbled upon networks of oak planks and fences forming rickety bridges over gaping chasms, rusted iron tracks vanishing around corners into pitch-black tunnels, and the occasional treasure-laden minicart chest nestled in shadowed alcoves. The community buzzed with shared disbelief. Had these complex structures, always been there, hidden beneath their feet? Players swapped tales of heart-pounding exploration, speaking of veins of iron and gold exposed along shaft walls, of the echoing clatter of bones echoing from unseen corridors where skeletons guarded forgotten loot. These weren't mere caves, they were time capsules of some lost civilization. And the mystery of Asterisk, who Asterisk built them, or why they were abandoned, added a rich layer of intrigue to every descent. The early mineshafts existed in a state of beautiful, chaotic randomness, spawning just as readily beneath oceans as beneath mountains, their wooden bones weaving through stone like the roots of ancient trees. Their unpredictable appearances made each discovery feel serendipitous, almost magical. But as Minecraft evolved, so did the mineshaft's relationship with the world around them. When the developers overhauled terrain generation, introducing towering mountains and plunging ocean trenches, mineshafts learned to navigate this new topography with cunning persistence, hugging cave walls and plunging into ravines with desperate grace. Their spawn rates fluctuated, sometimes becoming elusive ghosts, other times sprawling like fungal growths in the depths. Then came the mesas, those sun-baked clay hills scorched orange beneath relentless digital suns, and with them, the mineshafts received their first true variant. Mesa mineshafts were something else entirely, their wooden structures bleached gray and warped by imagined centuries of heat, their minicart chests shimmering with nuggets of gold, the glittering lure amidst the desolation. Later updates hitched cobwebs into the mineshaft's fabric like tattered shrouds, and from those silken traps emerged cave spiders, tiny, venomous horrors whose bite turned exploration into a tense battle for survival. What was once a thrilling scavenger hunt beneath the earth now demanded vigilance, transforming mineshafts from passive wonderlands into active adversaries, their dangers as tangible as their rewards. This evolution wasn't just aesthetic, it fundamentally altered how players interacted with Minecraft's underworld. In those early days, a mineshaft discovery was akin to striking gold. Suddenly, iron rails were yours for the taking, minicart chests overflowing with saddles, name tags, enchanted books, and the occasional precious diamond. For new players struggling to survive their first night, stumbling upon a mineshaft meant instant wealth, providing not just resources, but a sprawling network of pre-dug tunnels to explore or repurpose. Speedrunners learned to listen for the telltale groan of minicart tracks in abandoned tunnels, knowing these passages might lead them directly to the rare diamonds or enchanted tomes that could shave precious minutes off their world record attempts. Compared to the linear progression of strongholds leading to the end or the overwhelming grandeur of ancient cities humming with skulk, mineshafts felt intimate yet infinite, personal adventure hubs tailored by procedural generation. They became classrooms for learning Minecraft's logic, teaching players to read environmental clues, following a cluster of torches left by no surviving hand, deciphering the sudden appearance of multiple rail intersections as potential treasure markers, recognizing suspiciously placed cobwebs as warnings of lurking arachnid nightmares. Every mineshaft told a fractured story through its layout, a dead end suggesting hasty abandonment, a collapsed tunnel implying geological violence, a chest filled with rotten flesh and gunpowder hinting at some long ago tragedy. With time, mineshafts transcended their function as resource depots to become icons of nostalgia for veteran players. The eerie creak of wooden planks underfoot, the melancholic emptiness of corridors that once echoed with phantom pickaxes, the cold thrill of rounding a corner to find a skeleton's empty eye sockets staring back, these sensations are etched into the collective memory of the Minecraft community. Modern mods and data packs pay homage to this legacy, transforming mineshafts into even more elaborate subterranean kingdoms. Some mods weave lush cavern gardens through abandoned supports, fungal biomes glowing softly beneath the tunnels. Others amplify the danger, populating shafts with spectral miners or filling chests with cryptic maps leading to long-buried secrets. Data packs introduce complex abandoned machinery, broken elevators, steam-powered drills frozen mid-operation, feeding the insatiable hunger for lore. And oh, the lore. Player theories spiral like the shafts themselves. Were these mines dug by ancient builders fleeing some unseen catastrophe? Did the villagers' ancestors tunnel too greedily and too deep, awakening the wither? Or birthing the first Enderman? Or are the mineshafts remnants of a lost parallel world, bleeding into our own through dimensional rifts near bedrock? The absence of concrete answers fuels the imagination, transforming every playthrough into a personal archaeological expedition. Today's mineshafts stand as monuments to Minecraft's enduring genius, structures born from simple code that blossomed into cultural touchstones. They remind us that true adventure lies not in meticulously crafted dungeons, but in the organic stories born from exploration, danger, and the faint whisper of torchlight against rotten wood. So the next time you delve deep, listen closely to the groans around you. Those aren't just sounds. They're echoes of a decade of players holding their breath in the dark, hearts pounding as they step onto a wooden platform stretching into the unknown, wondering what treasures or terrors await just beyond the flickering edge of their light. The mineshafts endure, timeless and ever-changing, whispering that no matter how the surface world transforms with each update, the true soul of Minecraft will always be found in its shadows, waiting to be rediscovered one creaking corridor at a time. They are relics of a different era, yet perpetually reborn in every new world seeded, every cavern explored, every player who dares to ask, what lies beneath? The answer, even after all these years, remains as thrilling as it was in Beta 1.8. Venture forth, light your torches, and let the darkness show you. The moment your pickaxe breaks through the ancient stone and the hollow echo reverberates through the tunnel, you know you found something special, a gateway to one of Minecraft's most mysterious and dangerous buried secrets. The endlessly sprawling mineshaft network unfolding beneath your feet like veins of forgotten history. These claustrophobic corridors of cracked oak wood and rusting tracks whisper tales of long-vanished miners and their abandoned ambitions. But not all mineshafts are created equal. Venture deep enough across this blocky world's diverse biomes, and you'll discover astonishing variations shaped by the very ecosystems they pierce, each biome pressing its distinct fingerprint onto these decaying labyrinths, transforming them into unique adventures waiting to challenge and reward the intrepid explorer. Picture yourself first in the belly of a sprawling cave system, torchlight flickering against damp stone walls as you navigate the standard mineshaft backbone design you'll encounter most frequently across generic underground biomes, its familiar architecture groaning under the weight of centuries. Dusty planks of oak would stretch into shadow, interrupted by sudden gaps where cave air has eroded, rotting beams plunging into bottomless ravines below. Your boots crunching gravel as you edge past minicart tracks half buried in cobwebs glittering with dew under your meager light. Here, the dangers and rewards feel foundational. Skeletal creaks echo from dark turns, warning of cave spider spawners hidden behind false walls of cracked stone bricks, their sticky nests blooming with poison green threads promising paralyzing ambushes. Yet amidst the peril, chests carved from splintered would offer humble treasures, bundled rails hinting at automated cart systems long abandoned, crusted iron ingots perfect for reinforcing armor, and the occasional leather-bound enchanted book, its yellowed pages whispering promises of sharpness or unbreaking. Faint echoes of magic in this industrial graveyard. But let's journey beyond these generic depths to where geology collides with grandeur, the baked badlands of the Mesa biome, where mineshafts undergo a dramatic metamorphosis under the relentless desert sun that somehow permeates even these subterranean veins. As you descend through layered cliffs of terracotta striated reds, oranges, and ochres bleeding like molten rainbows frozen in time, the very wood of the mineshafts transforms from mundane oak to rich, almost purple dark flanks of dark oak, an exotic timber that seems to drink the torchlight around it, casting corridors into deeper gloom. The supporting beams here aren't cobblestone, but hardened terracotta bricks in rustic hues, structural art blending with the surrounding mineral kaleidoscope, and the rewards beneath this scorched earth grow exponentially hotter in value. Minicart chests groan under the weight of sun, baked gold ingots stacked like treasure plundered from a pharaoh's tomb, and brilliant cut emeralds wink from shadowy corners, prizes rare elsewhere but dazzlingly abundant in Mesa mineshafts, feeding rumors that these sun-blasted halls were once conduits for desert traders long before villagers walked the surface. Finding these biomes requires sharp eyes scouring horizons for towering plateaus banded in sedimentary rainbows, or sailing vast desert rivers flanked by mesas that erupt from the sand like petrified giants once spotted. Approach from high ground to spot telltale wooden support beams jutting from cliff faces like fractured bones. The gateway to riches veined beneath this painterly landscape now. Contrast the mesa's arid heat with the dripping, bioluminescent embrace of another biome lush caves, where life explodes in emerald frenzy and mineshafts interlace with verdant jungle caverns in a chaotic dance of industry versus nature. These hybrid zones announce themselves with surface world clues so subtle most adventurers sprint past them, twisted azalea trees bursting from otherwise ordinary grass, their gnarled roots plunging deep into the soil. Like nature's elevator shafts to an underground Eden. Burrowing down, you break into caverns where vines thick as pythons choke the mineshaft timbers, glowberries dangle like stolen stars in obsidian firmaments, and moss carpets soften the harsh geometry of minicart tracks ascending through curtains of hanging roots. But paradise has teeth here. The ambient threats of cave spiders and looking creepers multiply as hostile mobs from the lush caves spill into these corridors. Skeletons knock arrows behind colossal drip-leaf plants, zombies shamble through hanging vine curtains, and whispers of the ominous warden's presence remind you this symbiotic space doubles as a death trap. Yet the rewards. Exquisite duality as you pry open chests, still yielding useful minicart components and ingots from a rusted or cart. You simultaneously harvest resources unique to the fertile cave itself. Supple clay for bricks stacked glistening wet in your inventory. Pockets bulging with glowberries whose cyan light might save your life 3 corridors deeper in, and occasional drops of azalea saplings begging to be replanted in sunlit gardens far above this clashing realm. When spelunking these intersections, wheel torches and shears in equal measure trimming obstructive foliage to maintain sightlines while replenishing light against the mob-spawning shadows that creep hungrily at your periphery. But perhaps most breathtaking and perilous are the mineshafts twisted by extreme biome forces at the very edges of Minecraft's world. Imagine plunging into frigid waters off an iceberg-dotted shore. Trident in hand as you dive past prismatic coral reefs only to discover the ominous silhouette of an ocean monument looming ahead and wrapped around its obsidian spikes like parasitic ivy, the half-drowned carcass of a mineshaft, kelp. Choked corridors weaving between corroded pillars guarding the monument's outer sanctum. These underwater mineshafts warp gravity itself, tracks curve vertically up algae-slicked walls, chests embedded in seabed-silk bubble-trapped air when pried open. And zombies shamble eternally in their waterlogged tombs, transformed into drown that swarm you with spectral urgency. Your loyalty here switches to rhythm, time dives between air pockets and buried corridors, respiration helmets buying precious seconds to jimmy open chests yielding kelp, wrapped iron and waterlogged enchanted books, all while dodging guardians, laser sights piercing gloom. And never forget the mineshafts where cold doesn't just bite, it consumes whole. Glaciers of the frozen peaks biomes into mineshafts so utterly. Packed ice forms, jagged ceilings, and frosted cobwebs shimmer between support beams like crystallized ghosts. Frostwalker boots become divine intervention here, letting you skate across frozen sublakes without triggering hypothermic doom beneath the ice chests. Sit jammed in blue ice niches, their contents chilled to perfection. Packed snowballs perfect for deflecting blaze fire you might face later. Rare Frostwalker books themselves, and shimmering diamonds preserved like Arctic relics. Surviving here demands combating ambient chill campfires, melt temporary safe zones. Magma blocks thaw floors at strategic junctures. And every zombie encounter risks slippery knockback into razor-sharp icicle stalactites hanging like guillotine blades above. So what ties these biomes? Born labyrinths together beyond their shared ancestry. It's the pulse of discovery, those heart-thumping moments when torchlight spills across alien geology and you realize the game's procedural genius has birthed another unique challenge. Secret that'll live forever in your explorer's memory. Whether battling through overgrown azalea roots or chipping gold ingots loose from mesa terracotta altars, each biome-specific mineshaft remixes danger into art, scarcity into staggering abundance, and reminds us that Minecraft's true treasure lies in its infinite capacity to surprise. So grab your best pick, enchant that armor until it glows, and descend the next symphony of creaking wood and echoing monster growls is waiting in the dark just below your boots right now. The flickering torchlight dances across jagged stone walls as your boots crunch on gravel. You found it. The gaping maw of a mineshaft hidden beneath the earth. Its wooden supports groaning with ancient white. Spider webs glistening like spectral curtains in the stale air. This isn't just exploration. It's a high-stakes race against the clock. Every heartbeat echoing through the tunnels as precious seconds slip away in your speedrun. Your knuckles whiten around that stone pickaxe. Not the flashiest tool, but trusty, reliable, biting deep into ores when needed, breaking through cobwebs like they're rotten lace. You spared no time crafting it back in the sunlit world, just as you filled that worn bucket from the first river you crossed, water sloshing inside like liquid potential, ready to turn death drops into safe waterfalls, to drown fiery blockades in hissing clouds of steam. Because down here, hesitation is failure. This labyrinth doesn't reward tourists. You already scouted the entrance while racing through that ravine at dawn, sunlight barely kissing the depths. Mapping the quickest inward path in your mind's eye, dismissing side tunnels where the echoes spoke of emptiness. Those dead whispers won't lure you. You hunt only the treasures that matter. Chests cradling golden apples, glinting diamonds, maybe even a saddle for later leaps. Your pulse thrums a war drum rhythm as you surge forward, boots pounding the unstable rails, eyes locking. Not on the weathered wood or rusted minicart skeletons, but on the shadowed alcoves where chests wait like sleeping dragons. Time stretches and snaps. Your sprint jumping now, a blur of motion between support beams, leaping gaps where the floor crumbled centuries ago. The air whistling past your ears. Cave spiders scuttle somewhere in the dark, their poison-dripping fangs seeking flesh. But you're already gone, weaving past their nests without a backward glance. XP isn't the prize here, not when the clock's relentless ticking counts each misstep. There, a chest half buried in gravel, lid slightly ajar. You hit the ground sliding, fingers prying it open like a lover's locket, bred for hungry moments, iron for sharper tools, redstone that'll sing in future machinery. 8 seconds, that's all you spare. Snatch, sort, move. The torch you planted flares in your periphery as you vault onward, deeper into the mine's veins, lungs burning but sharp with focus. A groan rises ahead, not stone, but rotting wood. A pit drops into nothingness, no time for cautious circling. Water arcs from your bucket in a shimmering crescent, splashing against the abyss, transforming it into a spiraling stream carrying you safely downward. You plunge into the cold embrace, surfacing at the bottom with a gasp, tossing a fresh torch onto a ledge. The light catches jagged obsidian teeth. Lava pulses hungrily below, venomous and slow. Water meets fire in a furious hiss, the blockade dying in clouds of choking steam that claw at your throat. You leap through the gap, rope steaming, heart hammering, but alive, still racing. The tunnel forks, one path choked by collapse, the other winding downward. No maps in your hands, but your mind charts paths like a bloodhound. Dead ends mean death by seconds, so you mark walls with quick notches, memorizing turns. Hunger's icy fingers creep into your gut. You bite into stale bread without breaking stride, refusing to let starvation slow this dance. Every movement is economy, turning is wasted momentum. Pauses are graves for ambition. Then chaos erupts. A cave spider lunges from a fissure, mandibles clicking, venom glistening. You spin, sword flashing, metal screeching against chitin, but disengagement is the true victory. A splash potion of speed shatters at your feet, liquid adrenaline surging through your veins. You become the wind itself, leaving the enraged creature shrouded in dust. Your laughter echoing madly through the tunnels, till more chests fall to your relentless. Advance, enchanted books whisper forgotten spells, ironing its clink, cold and heavy. But then the shadows deepen, the air grows stale, and instinct screams. This branch withers into nothing. Time to pivot, no hero clings to emptiness. Your head snaps toward the surface, sweat stinging your eyes, but the path back is a fractured memory of drops and turns. The stairwell isn't elegant, rough-hewn blocks hacked from surrounding stone, rising in spirals toward faint, dusty light. Your pickaxe sings strike, step, a symphony of ascension. Each block placed is a heartbeat closer to freedom. You glance at your hollow enough for a portal, perhaps, or maybe a shortcut toward the stronghold, but questions gnaw. Was it worth those frantic minutes clawing through that obsidian trap? The answer comes like torchlight, yes, because every decision threads forward, toward the Ender Dragon's roar. As your head reaches the surface, moonlight cascades over heaving shoulders. The cool era baptism? The mine collapses behind you, metaphorically swallowed by darkness. Its riches now fuel for the next fiery challenge, nether portals blazing to life. Eyes locked on distant end portals, the speedrun's heart beating in time with your own. Because a mineshaft isn't a dungeon to conquer, it's a storm to outrun, a puzzle where time is the only enemy. You didn't emerge with every scrap of iron or spiderweb. You emerged victorious with momentum clutched tight in bleeding hands. The world unfolds ahead, villages to barter with, fortresses to storm, dimensions to shatter. But the lesson of the labyrinth hums in your veins like redstone current. Speed is born from ruthless choices, from seeing or in the rough and leaving stone to the darkness. So let other miners linger. Your destiny writes itself in seconds saved. In moonlit sprint toward the next impossible leap, water buckets sloshing at your hip like a promise. Wherever you fall, you'll land flowing, always flowing toward the finish line, burning bright on the horizon. The night is young, and your blade, like your resolve, has only just begun to shine. The torchlight flickers as you descend deeper into the earth. Shadows dancing along rough-hewn walls that whisper tales of forgotten miners and hidden riches. But tonight, we're not here to admire archaeology. We're here to strip these ancient tunnels bare, transforming every weathered plank and rusted rail into fuel for your empire. Welcome to the Resource Collector's Handbook, where we see mineshafts not as crumbling ruins but as overflowing treasure chests begging to be dismantled with ruthless efficiency. Imagine this. Your pickaxe bites into a mossy oak fence, splinters flying as centuries old with surrenders to your hunger for early game building blocks. Each section of these labyrinthine corridors holds mathematical potential. Count those support beams as you go, 3 fences yielding a plank apiece. Stairs collapsing into 5 wooden soldiers ready to become torches that push back the gloom, or tools that carve your destiny from the stone. These skeletal remains of minicart tracks and boarded-up tunnels aren't just scenery. They're a lumberyard disguised as a dungeon, a starter kit for survivors wise enough to see planks where others see decay. Now follow the ghostly echo of creaking wheels further into the dark rails, snake through the tunnels like metallic veins, each segment a promise of future automation, a cog in the machine of your ambition. Scoop them up greedily. A standard mineshaft spills over 100 rails into your inventory, enough to build sky bridges between mountaintops or whisper quiet transport lines deep below your fortress. But the real alchemy begins when you pry open chests nestled in minicart coffins, gold nuggets and rubied redstone blinking in your lantern light, transforming ordinary rails into humming powered dreams with the flick of a crafting table. And don't scorn those hollowed out carts themselves. Tip them over, and suddenly you're staring at mobile storage vaults or a clown car's worth of transportation. Your salvaged husk now a chariot for potatoes, weapons, or your very bones when lava suddenly licks at your boots. Ah! But the mineshaft's beating heart lies in its ores and loot crunch through minicart chests like a nutcracker devouring walnuts, ironing its clattering into your pack like frozen tears from the earth itself. Melt them down in furnaces cobbled together from the very stones beneath your feet, armor plates forming under your hammer, buckets swelling to quench your thirst or colonize lava seas. Yet amidst this metallic feast, discipline is your compass. Diamonds wink like frozen starlight in the dark. Coal scowls like a jilted lover you know which to cradle first, squandering no inventory slot on mediocrity when royalty gleams in the next alcove. Every cobblestone torn from sagging tunnel walls becomes a furnace's womb or crafting altar erected on the spot. No more sprinting back to sunlight when you can smell fortune where you stand, the mineshaft itself bending to your will. And when you've stripped the tunnels to their bony skeleton, that's when true mastery begins. Swing your sword through draping cobwebs. String coiling around your fingers like silk promises waiting to become fishing rods that haul enchanted books from murky waters or looms that spin wool banners proclaiming your dominance. Over there a chandelier of bones clatters in the dark, some long-dead miner's nightmare made solid. Surround that spawner with torches and trapdoors, and watch skeletons march obliviously into grinding blades, their death rattle singing you a lullaby of clinking XP orbs. Even these gutted tunnels have afterlife. Shore up collapsing ceilings with your stolen wood. Carve branch mine spider webbing from the central shaft. What was once a grave becomes a womb, a nerve center birthing diamond-laced arteries to feed your growing world. Can you hear it? That creak of oak beams holding up mountains. That snicker of rails plotting their reincarnation as farmland highways. These mine shafts don't mourn their plundering. They rejoice in rebirth under your calloused hands. So grab your pickaxe. Survivor, we're not just cleaning up history. We're rewriting it, one repurposed plank, one reanimated rail, one regenerated tunnel at a time, until nothing in the depths is wasted, until every shadow gives up its ghosts and gives wing to your creations. This isn't archaeology. This is alchemy turning memories into monuments. One stripped bone mineshaft at a time. The air grows dense and cool as you descend deeper into the earth, your torch casting long, trembling shadows that dance across rough-hewn stone walls. This isn't just any cavern. This is a place of forgotten industry. A skeletal remains of ambition buried beneath the bedrock where sunlight never reaches. Welcome to the Mineshaft, Minecraft's subterranean labyrinth where every creaking wooden beam tells a story of algorithmic artistry and atmospheric magic. Let your fingers trace the grooves of oak planks worn smooth by time as we venture deeper into these haunted corridors, decoding the invisible hands of procedural generation that sculpt these tunnels with calculated chaos. Each mineshaft begins as a mathematical whisper in the game's code. Algorithms debating tunnel lengths like ancient architects arguing over blueprints by candlelight. Some corridors stretch into yawning black voids, testing your courage as torchlight struggles to pierce the gloom, while others abruptly terminate in crushed gravel dead ends, trapping cave spiders who weave their silken nightmares in the darkness. Notice how the wooden supports rise like rib bones from the stone. They aren't merely decorative but silent guardians against collapse. Their placement follows strict procedural rules, acting as navigational breadcrumbs through the algorithmic maze. When you stumble upon supports clustered like trees in a petrified forest, you've found an intersection. The mineshaft's beating hardware 3 or 4 tunnels converge in whispered conference. Ceiling heights shift like underground tides above your head, dramatically altering the emotional texture of your journey. Some chambers soar cathedral high where phantom bats might hool in the stale air, while others force you to crouch instinctively. Shoulders brushing jagged stone as you squeeze through claustrophobic passages barely wider than your terrified gasp. This vertical variety isn't accidental. It's procedural generation's masterstroke in tension building, manipulating your posture both physically and psychologically as spelunking shifts to survival horror. Now listen, really listen, to the soundscape weaving through these rotten timbers. That distant creak isn't just random noise, but environmental storytelling at its most primal, unseen wood strains under impossible geologic pressure, while phantom footsteps echo from adjacent tunnels. Are they your own multiplied by cave acoustics, or something less friendly tracking your movements? The darkness here isn't merely absence of light, but a viscous, choking entity that devours torch beams after mere meters. Lighting these corridors becomes desperate warfare, each place torch a tiny victory against the suffocating void. Their flickering oranges creating pulsating spheres of safety where your breathing steadies before plunging into the next patch of consuming blackness. Every cobweb you brush against carries centuries of implied history. These gossamer traps aren't just spider playgrounds but decay indicators. They're accumulating layers visually whispering how long this industrial artery has lain abandoned since the last imaginary miner downed tools. The deeper you push, the more these atmospheric details conspire to tighten your throat, transforming what could be simple resource, gathering into psychological spelunking where your own heartbeat becomes part of the soundtrack. Yet not all mineshafts wear their decay the same way. Venture into the blistering mesa biomes and witness how terracotta bleeds into the structures like rust-consuming metal. An architectural fever dream where orange clay infiltrates wooden supports as if the desert itself is reclaiming its stolen bones. Contrast this with the overgrown caverns where life defiantly persists even in eternal darkness. Here, glow lichen paints toxic green constellations across mossy walls while vines cascade like vegetable waterfalls through shattered ceilings, their chlorophyll stubbornness softening the mineshaft's industrial harshness into something almost beautiful. Then there are the drowned relics. Oceanic mineshafts where prismarine crystals erupt through waterlogged timbers. Like alien barnacles, these flooded corridors turn spelunking into underwater archaeology. Your movements flow to dreamlike drifts as bubbles rise towards surface worlds far above. Water presses against rotten wood with tangible weight, creating submarine tunnels where drowned zombies might drift silently around corners, their bubbling moans muffled by millennia of oceanic pressure. Herein lies the mineshaft's true genius, its chameleonic ability to absorb biome personalities while retaining its structural soul. Yet these ruins aren't destined to remain frozen in decay. Watch as contemporary players resurrect these spaces with vibrant new purpose. Some transform cavernous intersections into grand halls with glowing lantern chains, their vaulted ceilings echoing with the clatter of sorting systems rather than pickaxes. Clever engineers repurpose abandoned rails into roller coaster networks feeding automated farms where minecart chests shuttle wheat and pumpkins through the once silent tunnels. One particularly ingenious architect might preserve historical authenticity while discreetly modernizing, replacing rotten wood with identical fresh planks, installing nearly invisible redstone lighting behind beams, creating museum. Perfect restorations where cave spiders still spawn but can't reach the illuminated walkways. Another might embrace the ruins aesthetic, allowing vines to curtain through deliberately collapsed tunnels while converting a rails free section into a monster grinder where hostile mobs plummet through clever traps. The mineshaft's flexibility becomes its greatest asset. These aren't mere dungeons to loot but architectural clay waiting for creative hands. As we emerge blinking into sunlight, the mineshaft's secrets linger like coal dust under fingernails. We comprehend now how calculated algorithms birth apparent chaos, how atmospheric details whisper horror stories in frequencies below conscious thought, how biomes drape their colorful personalities over structural skeletons. More importantly, we understand these crumbling tunnels as invitations, not just to explore, but to rebuild, reimagine, and resurrect. For in Minecraft's subterranean galleries, every decaying corridor hums with potential energy, waiting for the strike of a creative spark to illuminate its darkness once more. The torch sputters in your hand as you step into the cavern mouth, its guttering flame painting dancing shadows that twist across jagged stone like spectral fingers recoiling from the light this deep beneath the surface. The air tastes of damp earth and ancient stillness, every footfall echoing into a void that seems to swallow sound itself. Your breath clouds in the chill as you descend cautiously, boots crunching over shattered gravel and discarded cobblestones cracked with age, the remnants of rails curling up from the ground like rusted skeletal fingers reaching for escape hand all around. The symphony of the deep grows louder, the distant drip 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 of unseen water, the skitter of something tiny fleeing through rubble, the low groan of shifting stone pregnant with unseen weight. Then a flicker of movement at the edge of your vision, there and gone. And your pulse quickens as torchlight glints off something pale half buried in the dirt, a ribcage, picked clean, fragments of rotten leather clinging to bone beside a rusted iron pick, a warning etched in silent calcium. You crouch, brushing centuries of dust from what remains a rusted namatag fused to a clavicle, the faint engraving still legible. Mineshaft Delta beware the silk hand before the words fully register. The air shifts a dry rustle from above like wine through dead leaves. But there is no wine down here, and your torch gutters wildly as something drops from the shadows, legs unfolding in a nightmare of bristling chitin cave spider. All venom and hunger, mandibles clicking as it lunges. You roll aside just as it strikes. Dagger out and slashing upward through wet silk that rains down in sticky strands, but the scuttling grows louder, echoing from every side as more shadows detach from crevices you swore were empty. eyes glinting like malevolent emeralds in the gloom. Your first battle in the deep has begun. Blades and ichor and desperate movement as the mine welcomes you not as explorer, but prey. As the last twitching leg goes still in a pool of acrid venom, you press onward, torch trembling slightly in your grip. The mine reveals its true nature now. Corridors branching into darkness like arteries in some petrified beast's heart, the walls heavy with cobwebs that cling like rotting lace, quivering with every step. A collapsed section forces detours into narrower tunnels where the air grows thick with the scent of damp wood. Then you see it, faintly through a veil of cobwebs, a chest, half-rotted, iron bands corroded green, wedged beneath a collapsed beam. A spike of adrenaline sharpens your senses, poised for traps. You pry open the lid, ancient hinges shrieking, and there it gleams, a diamond, cold and perfect among leather. Bound books bloated with moisture. Carefully, you lift the topmost tome, pages crackling as they part to reveal ink-stained and smeared but still legible, the frantic script of a mind unraveling here in the dark. Asterisk day 17 provisions low. The webs grow thicker every hour. Jenkins disappeared last night, heard him screaming, but the sound. Cut off as if muffled. Found his pick this morning near the fissure. The handle snapped clean. They're getting braver. Their asterisk you flinch as a page crumbles to dust beneath your fingers. The next entry a single phrase. Asterisk it sleeps in the silk asterisk, underlined thrice with trembling force. The words settle into your gut like lead, and right then. A familiar rustle hisses from all directions, louder now. Asterisk closer asterisk. Dozens of skittering shadows converging on your position as torchlight glints off a pulsating sack of webbing nestled in an alcove. A spawner glowing faintly with hellish green magic, churning out horrors faster than you can count. This isn't an ambush, it's a siege. You brace, sword raised, and the swarm descends in a wave of fangs and venom, a frantic dance of slashing steel and spraying ichor, poison-tipped legs tearing at leather armor, until at last you drive your blade into the spawner's core, its eerie light guttering out in a shower of sparks. Silence falls, but not victory. Not yet. The mine shifts, its geometry treacherous. Corridors double back. Stairwells crumble beneath your feet, revealing pockets of lava far below. Rivers of gold or tauntingly out of reach behind walls of gravel that shift at the slightest tremor. You mark walls with notches from your pick, but the labyrinth mocks your efforts. Dead ends opening into sheer drops or chambers thick with unbroken webs humming with unseen threat. Then, salvation disguised as ruin. A collapsed tunnel spills into a wider chamber where the stale air reeks of wood smoke and decay. A makeshift camp, centuries old. A broken bed frame leans against stacked barrels long emptied of grain. A shattered lantern on a table crusted with verdigris. And beside it, a leather-bound journal preserved in eerie perfection by some alchemy of the deep. Each page crackles like parchment as you turn them, revealing detailed maps of the shaft's branching paths, maps marked with warnings. Asterisk lava flow here, bypass eastern fork, cave-in in sector gamma. Disregard silverfish nests. Asterisk and shillingly. Asterisk they breed fastest near water. Asterisk one page bears a charcoal sketch of miner, eyes hollow with madness, crouched before what looks like an altar of stacked bones draped in webbing. Beneath it, the note, asterisk sacrifices to quiet the mother. It didn't work. Asterisk as your fingers trace the rough edges of the sketch, something heavy shifts in the far wall, stone grating on stone as a hidden panel creaks inward, releasing a gust of air older than empires. Beyond lies a chamber untouched by time, walls veined with lapis lazuli glowing faintly. A pedestal carved with runes you've seen only in whispered. Legends cradling a single artifact, an obsidian shard humming with energy, its surface etched with symbols that seem to writhe when looked at sideways. As your hand closes around it, warmth floods your veins, knowledge slithering into your mind. Asterisk elder minds, the hungry ones below. Asterisk artifacts scattered, waiting to reunite, to awaken or to seal in. Then the walls tremble, stone screaming as a thunderous crack splits the ceiling. The chamber is collapsing. Pebbles become stones, become a roaring cascade of rock as you sprint. Leaping pitfalls you'd meticulously avoided hours before, the maze's geography now a frantic blur. The spawner chamber flashes past, its shattered remnants swallowed by falling debris. The chest room implodes behind you in a plume of dust, and then a low. Liquid roar filling the tunnels as lava bursts from fissures ahead, glowing orange death advancing fast. The walls are closing in needed. One miracle. There are rickety minecart track ascending into darkness, rusted wheels grinding as you leap into its cradling metal. Hands braced as gravity takes hold and the cart lurches. Lava licks at worn rails behind you, heat blistering your neck. But the cart accelerates, racing doom through tunnels that blur sudden light ahead, blindingly pure, and you burst from the mountain's flesh into open air, tumbling onto moss as the tunnel mouth vomits flames behind you. Gasping, soaked in sweat and the deep's grime, you unshoulder your pack loot clattering out, diamond, enchanted books murmuring with latent power, the obsidian shard still pulsing softly, and finally, folded in oilcloth, a map. Not of this mine, but of others, 5 shafts scattered like black stars across a land you haven't yet explored. The miner's last note flutters, free asterisk link the shards. And the hunger dot asterisk fingers trembling, perhaps with adrenaline, perhaps with the awareness of something older and darker than you understood. You look across the valley, new peaks to scale, new shadows to conquer, and realize your descent was not an end, but a beginning. The mine exhales its last dusty breath behind you, and for the first time since you entered the earth, you truly breathe too. The scars on your armor, the ache in your limbs, the lingering sting of venom long neutralized their lessons carved into your bones. Below, the world teems with forgotten truths, and far ahead, beneath mountains yet uncharted, other mineshafts wait, other secrets, other hungers. And you are no longer just a traveler in the dark. You are the light they fear. The tail scratched onto the walls, the whispered warning among crawling things. The one who went into the silk and returned forged anew.